Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Host Mania Round of 16 for the 4-Key Mania World Cup. My name is Halogen, and I'm joined here today with Davi. Davi, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. So, Halogen. This is going to be Colombia versus Italy, which is a losers bracket match. It's also the last match of the day if you're at UTC -1 and up. Well, who is at UTC -1? Is that this time, so?
Yeah, this particular round is very Sunday loaded, if you will. Lots of action happening after this particular match here. And this matchup between Colombia and Italy, a high-stakes matchup, as the loser of this match will be eliminated from MWC.
Yeah, that's the function of the losers bracket, pretty much. You're on thin ice if you're on losers bracket. So yeah, it's not a particularly nice place you want to be in, but you can come a long way.
Both of these teams suffering a pretty rough fate on the last round. Both of these teams getting knocked into the losers bracket on account of a 5-0 result by the previous teams. I believe Italy taking the 5-0 from Thailand, and Colombia, I forget who their 5-0 was.
UK.
From the United Kingdom. There you go. So these players now having to face off against each other. I know Italy was a little bit in a deficit last week without Jersey. So if Jersey's around, that's certainly going to help Italy's odds for actually doing well in this round.
Oh yeah, true. But they did pretty well regardless. Colombia being pretty much a newcomer to the MWC and being one of the lowest seeded teams. So they're a bit of a underdog coming into this. They also had, I believe, a fade-in player, which you don't see often in at least tournaments.
Yeah, you're so used to seeing last succeed from Germany, somebody who is pretty frequently known as a fade-in player. And on account of that, we're going to move on past that for just a moment here, as we see both of the teams have done their rolls there. Kira's rolling a 29 and Alexi 2 rolling 25, so Colombia having to opt into the first ban.
I'd wager that Italy probably want to stay away from the LNs. And
Here's an interesting thing about these two teams. Neither of these teams like LN very much. They're both probably going to be avoiding it like the plague. However, if research has been done by both teams, Italy's going to see, despite the discomfort, if they compare their match results in the round of 32, they have the advantage on long note. It's just you have to weigh the difficulties of like maintaining combo and whether or not there's some, increased ability on Colombia now that the picks are harder. And we see Ryu, which is one of the SV picks, being banned out.
I see, interesting. Maybe we'll have a non-SV match because all these teams don't really seem to practice SV all that much. Yeah, like I see no SV scores from them.
I would hope in a situation where if both teams did their research, Colombia is probably realizing that they've got a pretty steep hill to climb. I would hope that some effort would at least be put into one of the two SV picks in hopes of stealing a point that might not be easy to win otherwise. But unfortunately, Gimme the Blood also getting banned here. So this is, as you said, an SV-less matchup.
Yep. Seems like lots of people don't exactly care for SV so far.
With the reduction of the SVs from this pool here, we have all of the long note picks still available here. So the Rice versus LN showdown could come out to its fullest if it decides to go that way. I don't think it will, but at least we have like full real estate if that does happen.
Yeah. Or I think Italy has a big upper hand on Rice picks in particular. I'd wager that they want to pick stuff like Winnipeg and Robotic Girl, looking at their results.
And Italy actually hitting Lawn Wake 9 as their first pick there. I'm not 100% sure about this pick, but it is very early in the match, so they could be testing the waters to see just how well they can actually handle it. And here we're seeing Carello and Veryi, who is the third player there. It looks like Crybob's going to be the third player. That makes a lot of sense. All of these players pretty physically capable.
Yeah, maybe it's just a case of getting the risky stuff out first. Like when you're eating food, you don't go for dessert straight away.
That's a pretty good way to put it there. I'm still surprised though. I would figure with how strong Jersey is as a tournament player, we'd be seeing them on the Italian team, and we don't. I'm wondering if they're not available again, or maybe they just have a discomfort with this particular pick. We'll have to wait and see later in the match.
Oh, and I thought I'd mention that Go is the fade-in player, so we'll see if he keeps on doing the fade-in. From what I remember, the fade-in like, he is really consistent, but there's a bit of a lack in ratio, which can, in some cases, weigh the team down if everyone is FCing, across the board. If you have a underperforming ratio, then yeah.
The other difficult thing about somebody who's faded, and you mentioned the idea that ratio is going to probably be a little bit weaker, but for those unaware of this particular pick, this is OD 9.1. These timing windows are no joke. They're very tight compared to normal.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that OD doesn't change the 320, the Marvelous hit window, but it does tighten the 300 window, which means that you'll see probably more 200s than what you're used to.
I was under the impression that it actually tightened the 320 window on Score V2 as well.
On Score V, oh, maybe it did.
So your traditional 16 millisecond Rainbow 300, I think, is probably 14 milliseconds on Score V2. So those 2 milliseconds matter, especially when you have players who have really tight unstable rates. That makes all the difference.
Yeah, the tighter you're... Oh, we have an early miss coming out of Crybob.
Yeah, Crybob not only missing, but chopping that burst on a pretty dirty mess up there, down to 97%. Yeah. Obviously, the score's going to recover as we get out of this intro here, but that's not a good thing to happen early on. All you can hope is that Crybob only does that and that alone, because nobody has hit the score cap yet for combo.
Yeah, thankfully it was early on, so they're free to build up that combo, which does... Like, if you miss at the end, that probably hurts the most, because then you don't have notes to build up that like score cap, whatever it was. That was 400 combo, I believe.
Correct. As we actually get into this more aggressive section here, not quite as hard as the ending third of this map, but we start getting a higher pace here. Fusion finding a drop and finding a clean drop. Crybob missing again as well. However, Italy retains a decent lead as we get into the chorus of this song here.
Indeed. It looks like their hack game is a lot more on point, and Colombia, unfortunately, is struggling a bit on this density.
All three players on Italy holding that 99% as we get into the last quarter of this song here. We got 2 full combos on Colombia and 2 full combos on Italy, but the accuracy showing very brightly here as they have about a 40,000 point advantage as Fusion misses once again.
We have still a lot of bursts to go, I believe.
Yeah, the last quarter of this song has some of the most abrasive bursts in the map, and it's extremely difficult to get good accuracy on. Alexi finding a drop as well. The only full combo remaining is Naruze, and the accuracy's just not there for that full combo.
Yeah, they're not really enjoying this map all too much.
And after all of that, Italy winning by about 130,000 points. Very clean victory there. Ratios by Naruze and Fusion definitely a bit further behind than everybody else there. Alexi 2 with 6 200s, very solid 300 ratio as well. But Italy taking that pretty effortlessly, I would say. Not too much resistance. And it seems like Rice is definitely going to be their MO.
Yep. Now we'll see what Colombia is deciding to pick. Judging from this performance, they probably want to go for something more lightweight, bit less bursty, maybe something less dense. One of those potential picks could be Shakushane.
It could be, but then you also have to wonder too. Shakushane's one of the hybrids, and the long notes in that map are somewhat intrusive. So now we start to get into the whole long note discomfort there and how they're going to have to navigate that.
Yeah. Might be that they're more comfortable than Italy on the long note, since it seems like both have a bit of a disdain for long notes.
And well called by you there, as they do go with Robotic Girl.
Aha, I see. It's more straightforward pick, pretty stamina intense.
Yeah, we don't get many, variations in the pacing of the map. It's just, it goes and it keeps going, and it's just a matter of, and the structure doesn't even change all that much, so it's just a matter of tunneling in and just getting through as much of it as you can without really flinching. OD8, very standard timing windows there. Italy should have the advantage in terms of ratio here, but this might close the gap a little bit, as it might be more within Colombia's capability to actually play through it.
Yeah, it just depends on how many misses they get. And a go is actually coming in here. Ag is 0.
And the fade-in main coming in on a very constant pick. If you have a person who's a fade-in main, this is definitely the kind of pick you want them to be around for, because there's not too much in the way of rhythmic variation. It's just a matter of, again, staying steady. And if you're comfortable as a fade-in player, you'll probably be able to do that pretty well.
That's pretty good, yeah, I'd say. I'm not used to how you'd play, approach map picking as a fading player. So it's not a thing I've seen much as of. So that's a valid strategy to say. Since it does become hard to read bursts and stuff. What it seems like, but a go. Getting a miss there.
Italy absolutely flexing on their accuracy here, very at 99.91. And Corello, I mentioned Corello during the qualifier showcase that they were very dangerous on ratio, and they're showing it here with a 99.95 as we get through the first section, outclassing the rest of the lobby by quite a lot here.
Very is not that far off behind, but the difference between the 99.9 and 99.95 is huge.
Alexi 2 trying to do everything that they can to keep Colombia afloat here, but Naruze and a go falling behind a little bit here. Naruze actually having a lot of offset issues here. A good majority of their hits are early.
I go another miss there. Alexi does keep up fairly well, I gotta say. And yeah, that was one of the standout players from what I saw. They're able to ratio pretty decently.
And we hit the forced break in the map here. Both teams are going to see that Italy is winning by a pretty substantial amount here. Crybob, the lowest player, still holding the full combo with a 99.67. Alexi 2 outclassing Crybob, but not Verri and Corello. And that's just going to lead to Italy having a very sizable margin.
We have still a bit of map left. It's one of the longer maps, so consistency matters a lot, which is why I'm a bit confused why they'd rather go for this than, for example, what's it called, Winnipeg?
Yeah, Die Winnipeg, yes.
Yeah. It just requires a lot more consistency.
Winnipeg is very forceful as a rice pick. It's not as long, but it definitely drains your stamina faster. And on top of it all, it's OD 8.5. So you've got to really push. Crybob finding a drop, breaking one of the 3 full combos on Italy, but 2 still holding solid there.
And still Carlo and Verri showing off big time here.
Yeah, 99.91 and 99.88, almost sitting at the 99.9 threshold there. Lowest score, 99.6, is better than 2 of Colombia's players, and that's definitely amounting for the large gap.
And that they've gotten a lot of misses really weighs their score down, that it's not a matter about getting a couple more 200s or whatever for the gap. And yeah, Italy picks another point in their favor.
Italy with a 2.97 team score on the backs of a Corello's V1SS. Very not too far from that. Very similar ratios between the two players there. And we can kind of see the ratio disparity between the two teams there. Naruze actually getting just under 2-1, 300 to Rainbow 300 ratio. And a Go not too far behind, just under 3-1 there. Alexi 2 doing a really, really good job overall, but it's just not enough when you've got Italy, who is extremely solid as a unit.
Yeah, only one miss across the board. It's not something you want to be put up against if you're Colombia, since they seem to get unfortunate misses almost sporadically here and there.
I'd not be surprised if Italy goes with one of the easier rice picks in this situation, because even on the easier picks, they're going to have a ratio advantage, which means it's less training for them to play and probably less risk overall. So I would not be surprised if we see Open Your Eyes or Brain Fog come out on their next pick, simply because it's a lot easier. They could also go the complete opposite end of the spectrum and just be extremely forceful on the physical side.
Then they'd bank on just Colombia losing.
Oh, look at this.
Ooh. What's up?
It looks like they're calling for a long note pick here, Saka or Mirage.
Yeah, interesting. Italy didn't do well on the release pick last time around, but maybe they'll do a bit better on just these kind of density maps.
Yep, I was just about to say, I expect Crybob to come out for Corello Mine. It would make a lot of sense here as this LN density pick. As long as you've got reasonable fundamentals, this is not going to be the worst thing in the world to play. Kira's coming in as well. Oh, we see Relay coming in. So Corello is looking to be more of the rice front for Italy, whereas we have Relay, Very, and Kira's coming in to do the long note picks.
Another thing that they might be accounting for is that Alexi, one of Colombia's stronger players, they struggle a lot on the LNs. Like last match against the United Kingdom, Alexi got 925, which, since it's round of 16, is really low.
Yeah, definitely not the kind of score you're going to need to put up a fight here. Another thing worth noting about this particular matchup is Italy has a roster size of 6, but Colombia only has 5. So there is a guaranteed overlap between these players, regardless of whether or not they want to have to deal with playing both types of maps.
Yeah, true. I mean, most players don't worry about that a lot, but Relay getting another miss there. I mean, not another, just one miss at the very beginning, that is.
Colombia has 3 full combos at the moment, and they are hanging, but Alexi 2 and Very Raid.
Very also missing. It seems like it is quite a misfest so far.
Alexi, as you mentioned, not having the greatest of time with the density here. And Colombia had a moment where they were taking a lead there. Alexi finding a couple more drops there. Kira's holding very strong. Relay finding another drop, and the lead is not as big as we've seen on some of the other picks here.
Yeah, that's really questionable why they go for just a pick where the gaps would be a lot more closer, since it seems like both teams aren't best at long notes necessarily.
We get to the bridge before the chorus there. Naruze and Alexi basically dropping on the same transition. There only one full combo remaining on Colombia versus the one on Italy. Substantially better accuracy. Alexi with another drop, and that lead is growing in favor of Italy.
Yeah, it's just misses happening everywhere. I haven't seen quite something like this in a round of 16 map. It was like it's a finals match with how often everyone's missing, honestly.
These pools are definitely quite a bit harder than previous years there. Italy taking this by about 40,000, a little over 40,000 points. The Faden player with the full combo on LN density, excuse me. That is so nuts.
He's actually decent at it.
Kiraz with a 15-200 full combo, only full combo on Italy's side. Impressive plays by both Ago and Kiraz on that pick. That went better than I was definitely expecting. I mentioned both of these teams having a little bit of a deficiency in long notes, but those two players shutting me up pretty quickly there.
Yeah. I guess they're more confident on the density side, who knows? Or maybe they're just gonna go for a Cav cell pick and prove me wrong.
Hey, sometimes you've got to go with the Hail Mary when things aren't working. Colombia here having to make a pick, and it's difficult because there's a clear advantage on the right side of things. The long notes were a little bit closer, but does that merit going with Cav cell? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very risky for sure. And the two picks left are pretty weird, like LN-wise. It's not a lot of density in Carousel, and paintings is just control hell.
Oh my goodness. This is actually happening. They're going with paintings. Oh yeah.
This is... So basically it's a match between their weaker side. Both of these teams' weaker side. Interesting.
Colombia's trying to find a way into cracking a point on Italy. And with both teams having, as a unit, a bit of a deficiency in long notes just as an entire group, this might be a path that could work if Colombia overperforms and Italy underperforms.
Indeed. This one is very long too, so...
And as a result of the type of map not changing, we can expect the team compositions to probably not change either in this case.
Yeah. So we should get into it soon. For paintings, like I said, it's 3 minutes long, which is quite the length, say. We saw the previous match that Ago held an FC on the, what was it, Sakura?
Yeah, different kind of map now. Whether or not they can do releases as well as they can do, or coordination rather, over LN density. That's the actual question here.
Yeah, indeed. Sometimes players of density feels about the same on releases, but it varies a lot for many other players.
Seeing this map in round of 16 is just a testament to how much the long note game has evolved. This was in semifinals of Soft 2 back in 2017. In its original OD, which I believe was OD6, and now it's in round of 16 at OD7. This is how much the community has adapted.
Yeah, definitely shows that everyone has improved a lot on long notes, and it's becoming more of a staple in a sense. It's pretty much on the same level as Rise, from what it looks like. Relay, actually.
Yeah, Relay finding the drop, and this gap is going to be close as long as Colombia holds their combo. Relay's not getting max value for those LNs.
Yeah, it seems like even though Relay missed, Italy has still a very strong advantage. And Alexi also just missed, which will decrease the gap even more. They're going to have to dig deep here because there's still map left to play.
Got plenty of time here. Very carrying the torch. She's absolutely slaying these long notes. 99.66 on this is nothing to scoff at. Incredible ratio by both Kiraz and Barry here, and the lead is growing again in favor of Italy. Kiraz finding a column lock, very brief though.
Oh no, that was 30. Oh no. That no miss just made them get more misses. You hate to see that happen. No.
They got 1 FC to 2, but Italy's FC, very, very good accuracy compared to the others. And Alexi having a lot of trouble staying composed on some of these transitions here. Kiraz hitting the combo cap once more, and Relay back after having a little bit of a shaky start, sitting at 1500 combo and climbing.
Oh yeah. the gap is pretty big at this point. Having a low 98 is, yeah, you can't really come back from that unless a miracle happens.
Ooh, very finding a drop in a rather trivial section here, but it was a very clean drop, so accuracy staying very well intact, still the highest accuracy and score in the lobby.
Yeah, that could have been a pretty, like, big number score, but he is keeping himself rather well still.
Very re-arriving at the combo cap. Alexi2 trying to climb back, and Italy's sitting at about 40,000 points of advantage. Alexi with another drop, having a little bit of difficulty here. The map starts to wind down a bit, but with some of these tougher coordination patterns, we can still see some of those combo breaks. Naruze and Alexi having some issues there on those transitions.
Yeah, and isn't a go actually FC with Faden?
Again. Again.
They're really strong. The LN's department seems.
To have a Faden player that's this good at long notes is really, really awesome to see. And Italy with a team score of 2.91 is going to take their 4th point. Very good ratio by Veri there. Kira's not too far behind. Actually, just Italy in general having a great 200 counts throughout.
Yeah, that really spells out all the difference. If not, that could have actually been a point for Colombia. It's just that across the board, the accuracy and ratio is a lot lower. I mean, higher. And now it's Italy's turn to pick.
If you got a quick glance at the screen there, you saw Corello Mine come in here. They're probably going to go with Rice. And there it is. Open Your Eyes being the next pick for Italy.
Okay. And yeah, as I said, this is almost a match point. Just Colombia only has one more pick. And assuming that, of course, they like don't win this. Wait, no, I'm not saying. I'm having brain fart, sorry.
No worries. I'm wondering if we're going to see Crybob coming back in here. Crybob being one of the more physical players for Italy. However, if this is within the control of any of the other Italy players on the team, it's better for Crybob to sit out because Crybob's ratio, at least in this stage of the tournament, is a little bit on the weaker side. And don't get me wrong, Crybob is a dangerously physical player. But is he going to come in here? There he is. Okay, so at this point, we're going to be running with Veri, Corello, and Crybob for Italy. We see Fusion coming back on Colombia.
Replacing Echo, yeah. And yeah, overall, this is one of the speed stream picks because it's Joel. And if you see Mapper Joel on MWC, they probably made a speed stream map.
And that it is. 308 BPM, 1/4 snap on this map. Patterns are what you would probably see in your typical Joel map, which means the more intense the song gets, the more tightened you can expect the patterns to be. It's fluent until it's not. But if you've got the capability to do this, very easy to get good ratio on.
Yeah, the thing about speed streams is that for some players, they have developed a tendency to kind of half-ass them, like Mash was.
Point blank, straight to the point. I like it.
Yeah.
And here we are, Italy making Open Your Eyes to try to secure tiebreaker at absolute minimum, getting themselves to match point here. Colombia trying to get themselves on the board. Hopefully we can see Colombia overperform and prevent the brooms from being taken on them. Definitely a vertical wall to climb.
For sure. It's oh yeah, the beginning for the D3 Fusion just got a very unclean miss at just the beginning.
Well, that's the only thing you can hope, that it's only the beginning, only falling 20 notes behind everybody else here, so in the grand scheme of things won't be a huge deal.
Yeah, but the thing is they got also 100 from that, which will permanently weigh their score down.
Fusion finding another drop on a transition, and another drop having a little bit of trouble getting back to the combo cap after dropping. And Italy just holding a mirror to each other's players. They're all sitting at almost the same accuracy.
A mirror to each other, that's a good...
It's like the Spider-Man meme. They're all pointing to one another here.
Exactly.
Alexi2 holding almost a 99.6, doing a solid job trying to keep Colombia up as close as possible to Italy, but again, really big gap. Already halfway through, the song is not very long.
Yeah, it's only 2 minutes long. Not too much speed stream section. The thing with these speed stream maps is they have like very specific sections where there's only speed streams and nothing else, and the rest is pretty light. So it's just a matter of getting through those speed stream unscathed, and if you do that, then you're pretty set.
Waiting for them to clear this bridge, and then the streams are going to restart again. Here they go. Pattern's a little bit tricky at times there. Corello and Naruze and Fusion all finding drops on a brief little mini jack inside of the streams there, and Naruze having some trouble recomposing.
Yeah, this map doesn't really... Seems like it just gets more intense in terms of patterning, as you said. Like those kind of 4-3-2, 3-4.
Yes.
Deceivingly tricky.
Very actually found a very brief combo break rush on a pattern exactly like what you mentioned there. Thankfully, it was also very clean. I think the misses were basically together with no 200s there. And again, Italy, super clean scores throughout. 2-300, that'd be terrifying. 2-200 FC by Crybob, 5-200, almost FC by Corello. Single digit 200s for 4 players out of the 6 in the lobby here.
Alexa doing really decent though, gotta say. It almost... just outperforming some of Italy's players, but their other players are a bit behind.
I'd say they're very flexing ratio. 237 on that is pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Now let's see. What's Colombia's Hail Mary going to be? It's probably their last pick unless they win it.
Yeah, this is where we break out the brooms, except we say not for us, and Colombia does the reverse sweep and gets 5 points back. That'd be great.
Yeah, they hate the brooms. they don't want to clean. Actually, I just cleaned today after like a while. Feels good.
Rejuvenating.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here waiting for Colombia to figure out what they can do to get out of this hole that they're in. Quite a deep one. And again, this is a high-stakes matchup. This is in the loser's bracket, so Colombia is fighting for their tournament life as of this pick, and they go with Etude.
Also, I believe it's pronounced Etude.
Thank French. You. And we go ahead and see, I would definitely classify this as a Hail Mary pick, and you have to wonder, what are the teams going to be here? We see Kira is coming back. This map has some pretty abusive Rice and pretty abusive long note sections that will absolutely hit you if you're not strong at both.
Would you say that this map is like balanced, you think?
I would say, I don't know. I have a hard time doing it from my own personal opinion because I've played this map quite a bit, and this map gives me absolute hell on long notes. Actually, I could personally talk about my experiences with this pool. This is my worst score in the pool.
Oh.
I have good scores on LN release. Hey, I'm the Rice player here. What am I talking about? But I have good score on LN release and LN density on this map pool, but I don't have a good score on this.
That's really interesting. This is actually one of the maps I'm better at, I think. I haven't really played through the entire pool top to bottom like that. Like have one session and play through every map like that. I don't really do that. Maybe I should.
So we're seeing the LN squad, or the squad that was used for LN maps, coming in here, which is interesting. Of course, we've got that really difficult, almost inverse overlapped LN section in the earlier part of the map, but then right after that is a really difficult Rice section too. where it opens up at a pretty high pace, but when you're transitioning between the two phrases in the song, the density kicks up really high for a split second, and a lot of teams have missed there. And I'm wondering if that's going to happen on Italy's side here. Now, Colombia is, of course, going to be trying to essentially bank on the fact that they hold out longer than Italy with better accuracy. We haven't seen any changes, really, in the team composition. Ago coming back. Alexi's been here for everything, and Naruze has been in for a good majority as well.
And Ago was one of the long note players, so I guess we'll see how he fares on more rice dense picks. But indeed, this is a hybrid. So
this is a rice hybrid that has brutal LN.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But as we say here, Italy 5-0 for Colombia right now on match point. Colombia trying to keep their tournament alive.
Okay.
This part of the map pretty trivial for both teams, I'd imagine. Not too much happening until we get out of this section here. And some of the easier long notes in this map coming aboard.
I mean, there aren't really all that easy. Oh, look at those mini jacks going on. And there's also some shields there, I noticed. I think this is one of the more shell pots.
Naruze finding a break on a burst, and here we get to the more difficult LN section right after this.
Did you say
actually,
that
right here? Right here, actually.
You sound as you were about to like switch to commercials, right?
We'll be right back after every player misses on this long note section. And this LN section is absolutely gross from my perspective.
Yeah.
Both players getting through relatively unscathed. And now we hit the difficult rice section. And pay attention at the end of this, or at the midpoint of this section here. There's going to be a sharp density increase for a moment. And Ago finding a drop on that density increase. Very finding a drop just after.
It seems like Naruze is hitting a lot of very early 200s rather than... it just seems like he is always hitting early for some reason.
Yeah, that seems to be a repeated issue that we've actually cited. Naruze just hitting well, but shifted over, I would say. They're hitting just consistently a lot earlier than they should be.
Yeah, you gotta sort it out if you're gonna play a match, I think. Oh no, they dropped a lot at that sudden density place. Like, Naruze got a whole lot of 100s there.
And a good majority of the heavy difficulty gone, and we're hitting the song's end. Italy will be taking this match 6-0 and moving on to the quarterfinal stage in the losers bracket. Congratulations to Italy for winning this match.
Yeah, it looks like they picked up the broom after all. And yeah, big congratulations to Italy.
Worth mentioning here, the ratios on this not too far apart. Alexi actually having the best 200 count in the lobby at 14 by finding some drops, unfortunately.
Very having better, but yeah. Otherwise, that's a pretty good run by them, at least. It's just, too many 200s.
Yeah. And with that, we will be saying our farewell to Colombia, first-timers in the MWC circuit, and they put on a pretty good show here, showing that they might have a pretty bright future in future MWCs. Italy moving
see
on.
Them, yeah.
I hope to see them and other MWC representatives who haven't been here before just kind of coming onto the stage and showcasing what they've got. Colombia doing a solid first-time showing, I would say.
Yeah, I think so too. They put on a show, as you said. Congrats to Italy again. We'll see what happens in a few hours. This is one of the last matches for Saturday if you're like UTC.
And man, just looking at the remaining matches, there is a lot of excitement to be had in the round of 16. Many, many, many good matches. And the one that is upcoming, Philippines versus Canada. Canada's showing that they've got a hell of a team this year in Philippines. Very seasoned tournament team. That's going to be 8 hours from now at 1 UTC. You don't want to miss that because I have a feeling that match could go the distance.
Could go to the tiebreaker, you mean? When you say distance, you mean tiebreaker, right?
And maybe tiebreaker, maybe not, but definitely not a 6-0 result like what we've seen earlier. And then immediately after that, China and Chile, another matchup that could be very, very good. China coming with an extremely good unit this time, and Chile, of course, having a solid roster on their own. Those are going to be the two matches in the next block.
Yeah, and then we got Malaysia versus Japan, which is one of my matches that I want to see the most. Like, what's gonna happen, the outcome of it, you know? One of those very interesting matches, I think.
Yeah, runner-ups Japan with a slightly weaker roster, and Malaysia coming in with a stronger roster. I think both teams are gonna have a pretty intense showing there. But that's all in the future. For now, we have to wait 8 hours to return at 1 UTC for Philippines versus Canada. Dabby, you have anything else you want to say before we close this stream out?
Not really.
All right. Well, with that, everybody, take care. Have a good rest of your day, and then we will come back for some more intense Oceania 4 Key World Cup 2021 round of 16 action. Until then, take care.
Take care.